If you're dealing with a lot of gas and pressure after you eat, I want you to understand that this isn't like a personality trait. Most people feel like, oh, I'm just kind of stuck with this. My dad had gas, so I have gas too. It's not a genetic thing. So I want you to understand that you can fix this, and in this video, I'm going to show you how. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
In the comments section below, let us know what types of foods create more gas for you, because that can be different from person to person. It really depends on the types of foods that you can digest better than others and which ones may be creating a problem. Because gas is a sign that you're not digesting your food properly. Digestion isn't about just sticking food in one end and have it come out the other end. That's not really digesting. Digesting is about breaking the food down into vitamins and minerals and amino acids and dietary fats and all these things that the body needs so that we can function correctly. It's about accessing the nutrients in the food. That's what digestion is all about. So when we eat, our stomachs make hydrochloric acid, or HCl. This is the stomach acid that we hear about, and this is how the body starts to break the food down so that we can access all the nutrients in that food. So the problem is, for a wide variety of reasons, a person may not be making enough stomach acid to truly break that food down. So when that's the case, the body's like, well, I still got to break this down somehow. So that food starts to break down by process of rotting and fermenting. And this rotting and fermenting creates gases and toxins and all kinds of trouble. So as these gases accumulate from this process of rotting and fermenting, they start to create this pressure in your stomach or your intestinal tract. And that pressure can create a lot of discomfort, but a lot of times that gas can also escape in different manners. Some people will burp more, and some people will have flatulent kind of action going on. It'll come out the back door. So there's a variety of ways that the body can deal with this, but when there's a lot of gas or a lot of pressure, it's because the food is not being broken down properly. Most people who think they have too much stomach acid are actually not making enough stomach acid. And this can be confusing because a lot of the signs of too much stomach acid, like acid reflux and bloating and such, are actually caused by not having enough stomach acid. And if you're having reflux issues, we'll put a link in the description below fully explaining why acid reflux happens, and you'll understand then why it's a problem of not having enough stomach acid. To complicate this even further, the most common remedy that people use when they're dealing with gas is to take some kind of chalky gas medication thing, chewable, nasty, gross thing that they eat, and then it relieves some of that situation. And why this is confusing is because the problem is that when someone is not making enough stomach acid, they'll often have a bacterial overgrowth in their stomach, because the stomach acid is what kills all the bad guys when they come in. So when there's not enough stomach acid, an overgrowth can come in and set up camp, and the bacterial waste is very alkaline. So it will neutralize stomach acids even further. And then this alkaline waste, when it mixes with the small amount of stomach acid you may be making, it creates this fizzy mess, because when opposite pHs collide, it kind of creates this fizzy stuff. So that can create even more gases and pressure. So when someone takes some kind of antacid and turns off the acid altogether, now they've removed that chemical reaction of acid and alkaline. And now they're just really not digesting the food at all, and it's only breaking down by rotting and fermenting, so it makes digestion even worse, really. But it can reduce that symptom a little bit, so people think, oh, I did the right thing. I must have had too much stomach acid. I turned that off, and now I've improved. The problem is when we have an overgrowth in the stomach, it can also go down into the small intestine as well, and that's why so many people now are dealing with what we call SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And if you think you might be dealing with that type of issue, we'll put a link in the description below for 4 causes of SIBO. The problem is if there's bacteria in the small intestine, they're still creating gases and pressure there, and that can expand your intestinal tract and create discomfort, but it can also create a lot of gases that need to escape somehow. So no matter where the overgrowth is, it can create a lot of discomfort in either situation. Both are problematic, and if a person was making enough stomach acid, they wouldn't have been able to come in the first place. Now if you're saying, yeah, but what if my gas is really foul? What if I get kicked out of the car and I have to walk home because people don't want to be around that? And when that's the case, there's usually another problem involved as well. Because once the food is properly acidified in the stomach, it leaves the stomach and goes into the duodenum, where the gallbladder squirts bile down to neutralize those acids. And bile is a soapy substance that's made by the liver, and it helps us fully break that food apart so we can get all the nutrients out. It helps us emulsify our fats better. But it's really common for bile to become too thick and sticky to flow correctly. And when bile isn't flowing correctly, a lot of that food doesn't get broken down, and then it rots and ferments, and the fats that we consume can become rancid because they're not getting emulsified with enough bile. And another problem is that the liver, when it filters junk out of the body, it puts a lot of those toxins into our bile so that they can go through the intestinal tract and go out the back door. That's the main exit strategy for toxins in the body. So when bile isn't flowing correctly, a lot of those toxins aren't getting removed. So now the body has to just figure out, how can I get rid of junk any way that I can? And a lot of times it'll send stuff out through the gas that's going out the back door, and it will be quite foul. So when someone can improve bile flow, oftentimes that gas is not so foul. Now they will sometimes see that become more foul as they start to improve bile flow, because years of toxins that have been backed up are starting to finally come out. So if you see things get worse before they get better, that's okay. But the main thing is when you can improve bile flow, people will let you stay in the car. You get to ride all the way home. You don't have to kick rocks. So that can be very important. Now, taking digestive enzymes can help a little bit because they help you break your food down a little bit, but if stomach acid or bile flow is not working correctly, they're not going to help that much. You're still going to be a problem. So to really understand if you're having problems with either side of digestion, we have a totally free 4-week digestion course. It's all online, and we'll put the link to that totally free course in the description below. So that course will walk you through figuring out, are there aspects of digestion that are not working correctly? And if so, what steps can I take to improve those? For now, watch our video on understanding digestive troubles to gain more insights into other areas that digestion can cause some problems. I can't wait to hear about your results.